One of my favorite movies is The Lion King, The Circle of Life. As I see these three turtles at all different ages and stages, it reminds me of the dentisting circle of life. How can we collaborate as dentisting humans? And what are the stages in this dentisting circle of life? And let's examine the dental transitions field. My name is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman. I'm a multiple practice owner, practice broker, founder of Dental Nachos, and most of all, someone who wants to be a good friend to dentisting humans. We need more awareness about what happens in our dentisting circle of life. So let's start with finding your first job after dental school. What are options for new grads today when they graduate dental school or complete a GPR or AGD? And I want to deliver value for all of us to think about, whether we're a new grad 20 years ago, a new grad 2 years ago, or new grad 43 years ago, which is how old I am, because we're all on this dental circle of nacho life plate together. So finding your first job out of dental school or GPR or AGD. First, a GPR or AGD allows you to practice skills that are often not taught in dental school in a supportive environment. So the value of doing a GPR or AGD is that you get to practice things like extractions, bone grafting, implants, rotary endo. Of course, research the different programs, they're all different, but you get to basically be paid to do hands-on C for a year. So if you are thinking about doing a GPR or AGD, I highly recommend you do one. Now, if you're hiring someone for a job, a GPR or AGD often gives these applicants the patient experience, not just the clinical experience, dealing with people, listening to their attendings. It's a way for you to hire somebody who's already had experience in the dental field for a year. This doesn't mean don't hire someone out of dental school. I'm just here to share awareness for all of us. And as someone who's hired multiple associates in my practice, my requirement is that the dentist completes a GPR AGD before working in our practice for a few reasons. One, I want them to feel confident in troubleshooting things on their own. Two, I want them to have the patient management experience in all different phases. Once you do a trauma case at a GPR or AGD, not having a good contact on a class 2 doesn't seem as big of a deal, and managing that doesn't seem as overwhelming. So finding your first job out of dental school is a big life step in the dental circle of life. How do you find a job? How do you hire an associate? We don't have a lot of great systems, but one of my messages in finding a job or hiring an associate, ABC, always be connecting, always be communicating. This is my recommendations. Go to as many in-person CE courses as possible. During a pandemic, that's not as possible. So what you can do, get yourself out there on social media. Post good questions. Make a video resume. I encourage everyone to make a 30 to 60 second BTL video. What is a BTL video? Bring to life video. That's you saying something like this. I'll share it with you now. Hi, my name is Dr. Paul Goodman. I graduated from Penn Dental in 2002 and completed my general practice residency at Albert Einstein. I like all phases of restorative dentistry, but especially dental implants. I'm looking to join a practice as an associate in the Philadelphia and New Jersey area. If you would like to contact me, reach out to me at paul@dentalnachos.com or call me at 267-896-1942. A quick 30 to 60 second video that includes your contact info, something about you, uploaded to a YouTube page, only include contact info you're comfortable sharing, and share that with people, because bringing yourself to life through the power of video is magic. So now you have your first job out of dental school, and you're thinking, maybe I want to buy a practice. What are some stages in buying a practice? Connect with as many brokers as possible, but there's not regulation in the broker industry, because I'm a broker, and I know brokers don't have to go to a special broker school. So be cautious, especially when dealing with dual representation brokers. Dual representation brokers claim they can work for the buyer and seller at the same time. And I have had unpleasant, problematic experiences as a practice buyer myself, because I purchased 2 practices from a dual representation broker and overpaid for these practices by tens of thousands of dollars. If I knew what I knew now as a practice broker, as a Dr. Nacho, as someone with experience, as someone who listened to podcasts, this did not exist back in 2011 when I bought my second practice with my dental team, I would have saved tens of thousands of dollars. So get good information and develop your own team of advisors. This may sound like advice your grandmother would give you, but your grandmother was very smart. Good advice is never expensive. Another thing I want to add in, do not sign an associate contract or offer an associate contract without having a dental-focused attorney review it first. Do not offer or do not sign a dental-focused associate contract without having a dental-focused attorney review it first. Why? Nothing bad can happen. One, the attorney can say, this is a great contract. Maybe we could tweak the restrictive covenant, but otherwise looks great. Then you feel good. The red flags could be, there are 20 red flags on page 1 before I got to page 2. You want to make a lot of changes or not take a job like this. The dental-focused attorney is there to protect you. Do not be dentist cheap and not hire one. As a practice broker, it is poignant. One of the most challenging things I deal with is associates who want to buy a practice and cannot buy a practice where they want or get a bank loan because of a bad associate contract. If you say restrictive covenants are not enforceable, that could be on its face true, but to find out, you may have to spend a lot of money. You may have to get involved in a lawsuit, and banks are not going to lend you money if you're trying to buy a practice inside your restrictive covenant. I know the state of California may be different if you're from California, but getting a dental-focused attorney, incredibly important. Who else should be on this team for buying a practice? Dental-focused accountant, a bank, perhaps a financial coach. You're making a huge life decision. There are buyer coaches out there as well. So look to develop a team, find out great information, because this is the biggest decision of your life. As someone who sells practices, I go and visit dentists when they're about to sell a practice, and many of them have had multiple houses. Some of them have had multiple spouses, but one practice. Once you purchase a practice, you are anchored to that area for a significant period of time. You are anchored to that practice. Do not make it a reactive decision. Make it a decision that you spend time finding out, is this the right fit for me? I'm not saying analysis paralysis. I'm not saying don't buy a practice. What I'm saying is make sure you're prepared, you're aware, and protect yourself. What is another big phase in the dental circle of life? Selling your dental practice. Selling your dental practice is one of the second biggest decisions. It is not easy to do. You have put so much time and effort into your practice, and you need a licensed dentist in your state to buy it. Connect with as many brokers as possible and interview them. Ask good questions. How do they earn their commission? How will they market your practice? Are you a dual representation broker? If they say yes, be very cautious. Use your team, dental-focused accountants and attorneys, to help you choose a good broker. Can you sell a practice on your own? Of course. Is it advisable? That's up to you. As a practice broker, I have learned over the past 5 years of being one, there's so much work and small nuances that go into selling a dental practice. You want to have as many good qualified buyers as possible. One of the worst things that can happen is that you work with a buyer for 6 months and the buyer drops out at the end. And if you do not have a good broker, it's often hard to get another buyer right away. So a good broker brings buyers, connects you to good people, works well with you and your team. Like selling a house, it's possible to do on your own, but you will most likely get the most options of good buyers using a broker. Disclaimer, I am a dental practice broker, but I have learned the hard way through buying practices myself from brokers that acted as dual rep brokers. And as a broker, I am not there to work for the buyer because I work for the seller, but I work with them. If a dual representation broker says they can represent your interest and the interest of the person buying your practice equally, look into that, because that to me is, what's the word for it? Not so nuts and impossible. So those are the stages and phases of the dental circle of life. Finding a job, buying a practice, selling your practice. Interspersed in there, maybe buying a second practice, hiring an associate to work in your practice. The message that I want to leave you with, the value I want you to leave you with, is be prepared. be aware, protect yourself, develop a team. You're not supposed to know all this information. You wouldn't just take out impacted wisdom teeth as a general dentist that are 1 millimeter away from the IA nerve. You'd refer that to an oral surgeon. Well, in this world, it's the same thing. Meet those people, the dental-focused accountants, the dental-focused attorneys, the brokers, the banks, the financial coaches, the consultants, because these decisions are about two things, dentisting humans, as they are for me. They're about my money, making money, but more important, they're about my morale. How do I feel about my practice? How do I feel about the job where I work? And oftentimes, if you get a job that's not a good job, it's hard to leave because it's the thing that pays for your rent, food, and loans. So start early. Get as many good options as possible. Rely on your team and develop that dentisting core. Your clinical skills, super important. Just as important, your communication skills and your business skills. So I hope I've delivered some value to you. As I wrap up this segment, I would like to say, for sure, do not sign any contracts without having a dental-focused attorney look at it. Whether that's an associate contract, an asset purchase agreement, a letter of intent, have a dental-focused attorney review that. Good advice is never expensive.